Before we get into the reaction video, because I want to react to a woman that made an announcement. She's a YouTuber and she's also an entrepreneur, but she's making a decision, or she's trying to come to the decision of whether or not she want to close her business or not. First things I want to do is I want to revisit California really quickly, because In-N-Out surprised the people. Yes, they did. Not only did they pull out of Oakland, but they also decided that they wanted to raise the prices over in the spaces that they still hover in California. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it.
Bay Area residents have been experiencing sticker shock when it comes to food, whether at grocery stores or restaurants. And tonight, In-N-Out has recently joined other chains in hiking its prices to keep up with the new minimum wage increase. KTVU's Betty Yu joins us live tonight after speaking with some customers in Alameda. Betty.
Mike, I've been speaking with customers, and the response has been really quite varied regarding these price increases. Now, some of them were a bit shocked at the slight price increase. Others didn't notice at all. But take a look at this drive-through line at this hour. Now, this is not uncommon, but if it's any indication, the demand for In-N-Out is strong.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Pittsburgh resident Chris Halika says he eats at In-N-Out every other week.
The price increase, I understand, because...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Not the Soldier Boy jury. Hold on. This guy looks like a Sims character. Whoa, hold on, big dog. Before we get over into the price increase, I need to understand exactly what's going on. You got that weak chain. You got them glasses on, no mustache, no beard, got makeup on. And then you got that thinning hair. Why do guys hold on to that thinning hair? Hey, just let it go, big dog. Listen, we all get there. Some of us get there faster than others. Some of us never get there, but the majority of us get there. Listen, you do better just hitting it with the razor in the morning, making sure that you keep your beard tight, grow you a little bit of facial hair, get you a mustache. This guy literally looks like a Sims character. And he got that weak chain on, but we gonna get to the price increases. Let's continue.
Economy is kind of bad.
The company said it increased prices across California the same day the state's fast food minimum wage law took effect. In-N-Out said in a statement to KTVU, on April 1st, we raised our prices incrementally to accompany a pay raise for all of the associates working in our California restaurants. The price increase was also necessary to maintain our quality standards.
What happens in order to be able to pay people more money? They have to pass that on to the consumer. And so while y'all complaining about the prices of food and all of the stuff that's happening in all of these cities, these restaurants are not going to take a loss. Only one of two things can happen. Only one of two things can happen. Either they raise the prices and pass that on to the consumer, or they close up shop. Either they raise prices, pass that over to the consumer, and they close up shop. Meanwhile, usually what smart business owners do is they wind up innovating enough to where they don't have to have they don't have to have workers, or they have to have a minimal amount of workers in order to make sure that they run their business. They stop getting out of the whole people business part of it, right? But essentially what they're doing, and what a lot of other restaurants is doing over in California, is they're trying to incrementally, what incrementally means is that a little bit at a time, they're raising up prices, and then they giving it over to the consumer. So you guys are the ones that's going to pay for the raises of the fast food workers that y'all got over there in California.
I've always heard that In-N-Out treats their employees well. It seems like that's part of their branding, and so we're definitely down to support that, especially in the Bay Area when cost of living is so high.
The starting wage for In-N-Out workers is $22 to $23 an hour based on the location, which is higher than the state.
$22 to $23 an hour for somebody in a drive-through line. It just doesn't seem real. How much was we making? $5, $6, $7 an hour when we got to make? We was happy. It was a McDonald's down the street from my street, like a block and a half down the street. And all of the young dudes, if they wanted to work and they didn't want to be on the streets, they went and got a job at McDonald's. Or they went across the street to AutoZone, or they went and got a job over at Aldi's, or they went to work at Kroger's. Because you could walk to your job, or they went and got a job at Jet's Pizza, or they went and got a job at the Foot Action and stuff like that, right? And I just remember so many young guys, they were so happy to be able to get a paycheck at the end of the week or every 2 weeks. And I just remember it being so, $22, $23 an hour is insane. I mean, when you start to think about it from that lens, and then you say, people say, oh man, all cars is like $100,000 now. It seems like you can option up these cars $60,000, $70,000. Well, if you actually do the calculations based off of what minimum wage was and what fast food prices was back in the day, and how inflation has basically hit everything, either you're going to be rich or you're going to be poor nowadays.
State's new $20 minimum wage.
Especially coming from Georgia, California prices are a little bit higher, but when I came to In-N-Out and I was spending $20 on a meal, it's definitely something that I did not expect at all.
Khalil Coleman just moved to Oakland from Georgia 2 weeks ago. For Halika, the pricing is all relative. For example, a double-double
Why
meal.
would you move from Georgia to Oakland? That's insane.
The In-N-Out in San Francisco is the most expensive in the Bay Area at over $13. The same meal in Alameda costs just under $12. Diners pay slightly less at the San Jose or Pittsburgh locations.
It's not bad. You know what I mean? If it's what it is, as long as it don't go over $20, I'm fine with it.
Still, inflation remains stubbornly high as the Federal Reserve is set to release its latest policy statement Wednesday. Unfortunately for consumers, the Fed is widely expected to keep rates steady. Where do you feel the pinch the most these days?
Definitely in going out for meals, so we're trying to do it less often.
Was it worth it today?
Was it worth it? I don't know.
Now, earlier this year, Wall Street predicted 3 rate cuts for 2024, but now some economists are scaling that back down to 2. Now, again, tomorrow morning, we are expecting that snapshot of U.S. inflation to come out. Mike?
I expect rate cuts personally because I think that it's an election year. And so in order to make sure that people feel a little bit more comfortable about the state of the economy or the direction of the economy, I think that they're going to wind up cutting rates in order to make sure that people feel better about an election year. This is the CEO or co-CEO of Raising Cane's. I don't really care for this guy. I like Raising Cane's. I think that it's a decent franchise. I don't have anything wrong, any problem with Raising Cane's in particular. But this guy does a lot of posturing that I've seen him in a previous interview before. So much so that I didn't even want to use this interview. But I haven't seen him on CNBC based off of the recent minimum wage food hikes over in California. So I want to get a different perspective, and I want to see what he has to say.
Let's also be clear. Your costs are going up with it. McDonald's, Wendy's, In-N-Out Burger, Burger King, and many others all raising menu prices.
Over 10,000 jobs has already been cut since last fall over into January. This was from CNBC. Let me continue.
Prices in California since that edict came down from Sacramento. And now many restaurants are also cutting jobs, rewarding the best employees with more hours, but likely whacking the rest. Let's talk about all of it with AJ Kumaran. He is the man helping run one of our and America's favorite places. That is Raising Cane's. Raising Cane's is 91 locations in California. AJ also a member of the board of directors of the New Orleans branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. So we got 2 Fed members on the show tonight. It's wonderful. AJ, again, people want people to do well. California is stupid expensive to live. We want everybody to make as much as they possibly can. But what ultimately is the impact on prices and the consumer?
Good to see you, Brian. You know, we did take a price increase. Most companies have to. When things like this happen, you have to pass it along to the consumer.
He just said it. Before he even do any of his pandering and posturing, he basically just said it. He said, look, we did the same thing as In-N-Out. When we had to raise prices, when it came to the amount of money that we paying our workers, we basically pass that on to y'all. We not absorbing that. And so it always kills me a lot of times when people say stuff like, oh man, the company made this, they need to share the profits with the people in the... No, that's not what's going to happen. Ain't no CEO taking no pay cut. Ain't no upper management person taking no pay cut. You the person that's going to absorb the cost. Yeah, you. Yep, you. Every time you go out, and y'all can say, I see people in the chat, oh man, you know what, I don't eat fast food. It's across the board. It's in the grocery store. It's in the grocery store, it's in the restaurants, in the fast food, it's in the gas prices, in the cars you buy. It's in everything. Tree trimming, construction costs, everything is passed on to the consumer. Nobody is going to be taking a haircut. Nobody in upper management. They're going to figure out how to market it to you differently. They're going to downsize the food sizes. They're going to up the prices. They're going to sell you more drinks. They're going to put more air inside of the chip bags. Whatever it is that they got to do in order to make sure they got people dedicated on the front lines to making sure that they cut every single thing that they can possibly cut. Instead of getting the bag, you're going to be getting just a piece of paper. Whatever it is that they got to do, they're going to make sure that they give you that price increase while cutting costs for themselves.
We did take some margin hit. We took our prices about 7%. That meant some margin hit to our business overall. However, we are seeing great response. We're not seeing any negative backlash at all. We haven't cut any hours. We haven't laid off any crew members. We will never do that. In fact, we're doing pretty well. We haven't taken any sort of value approach or discounting of any sort. So we try to hit the everyday value, and that's what we really offer, and that's what we stick with. And by the way, one thing that is not really talked about a lot is that, yes, it's a $20 minimum wage for hourly workers, but it's also $84,000 minimum for salaried managers. So net is a pretty big impact, but we are able to.
$84,000 salary minimum for the managers. Managers over in fast food places is making $84,000 a year. Telling me you could be a manager at a man, let me get up out of here. Y'all over there, y'all got the wrong jobs. Forget the warehouses, forget the plants and all of that. Listen, hey, forgetting working on the line, forget the UAW. You telling me you can go and be a manager at a fast food joint and make $84,000 a year? $84,000 a year for one person at a fast food joint. I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone. What year is this?
To kind of take a little bit of margin, a little bit in price, and make it work.
But you're one of the hottest chains in America, super fast growing. You're not even you don't even have fans. You have cult members. They just need the sauce, if you know what I mean, AJ. And if you've had it, you know what I mean. But I would imagine a lot of places that are not you guys are having to raise prices. They are having to lay people off, because I've talked to some business owners. They say, I'm going to give my best employees more hours.
Hey, Brittany B, we going over there to Raising Cane's or no? If y'all see me switch this hat out and I got a Raising Cane's, hey, Raising Cane's, man, send me a check, man. Send me a check. I want an endorsement from Raising Cane's. I'm up here sitting here talking about how good, man.
More money in their pocket, if they want them, of course, and I'm going to whack the rest.
Look, I've heard the same stories that you're talking about. Most businesses have taken 10 to 12% increases. Here's the challenge. When you're coming into it with a pretty tight margin and not enough consumer interest, it's a struggle. We're thankful. We are blessed, like you said. We have cult fans, cult following, Caniacs, we call them. So that's helpful. And we always have done the right thing. We've never compromised on our quality. We've never compromised on taking care of our crew members. We've never compromised on taking care of our customers and our community. So when we do something, when we take price increase, they clearly know that there is no other choice,
That's crazy. Shout out to the fast food places and the fast food managers that's making $84,000 a minimum a year. Jesus Christ. That just tell me that I'm going to make sure that I'm going to stay out of the food business, because I'm not built for that. Anyway.